Welcome to Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, the final round of 2024, round 6 at the Shanghai International Circuit, and the sky is blue. It's a hot morning. The typhoon may arrive tomorrow, it may not, but right now we're set for the final qualifying sessions, 2 of them, one to define today's grid and one for tomorrow's. They're 15 minutes each, only 7 minutes between them, so it's going to be very, very quick fire. One of the titles already settled, that's Silver Round, but every other class in the championship is still to fight for. It's very, very close in some. So this first qualifying session to define the grid for this afternoon's race could be ultra important. Lu Wei leads the way with Origin Porsche in terms of championship points. He's 16 points clear in their overall title race, but this is a circuit on which they can really stretch their legs. It's our first visit to the Shanghai International Circuit. It's 20 years old and we haven't been here for 5 years, since 2019, and look at the cars. It's a very busy pit lane right now. You can see the heat haze and we have the mix of the manufacturers. 3 Lamborghinis from Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, very easy to pick out in their bright green race livery. 3 cars coming to play this weekend that aren't enrolled in the championship. Phantom Global Racing bringing an extra Porsche, Harmony Racing another Ferrari, and Earl Bamber Motorsport another Porsche, which will run in the Silver Ram class. 3-2-1, that is the EBM Porsche. Li Zhongchao and Lu Wenlong will be driving that, so getting experience. Maybe they'll come and play in the whole championship next year. A toe in the water for car 3-2-1, but great to have some new faces in the races. But one car you will not be seeing, unfortunately, in terms of, well, you will be seeing the car, but you won't be seeing the driver, is Marcus Winkelhock. Was racing last weekend in Thailand. He's come here, he's not feeling well enough, so he won't be lining up in the Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute Audi with Antares Zhao. So Antares will be one of several drivers, 3 drivers in all this weekend, who'll be doing the 2 one-hour races solo, but he's got lots of experience racing all around the world, particularly in the Intercontinental GT Challenge, so he'll just have to get a little warmer in the cockpit. Car 22 sitting down in the pit lane there. That's Climax Racing's entry for Wang Zhongwei and then Ralph Aron. That was going very well in practice yesterday, but with another typhoon in the region, of course, the cars were delayed getting here, so they didn't have as much track running as they wanted. But it's the final round of the championship. The drivers know the cars. Talking of which, championship challenger Anthony Liu, last year's champion, he and teammate Alessio Picariello have really been struggling with their Porsche all season, and they've decided to go for a whole new chassis for this weekend in Anthony's bid to try and make it 2 titles in succession. 15 minutes long, this first qualifying session, coming up very soon indeed. One of our onboard cameras, we're riding on board now, Team Go Zigen, and it's the mighty Nissan Skyline GTR. Very popular entry in the championship. Hirobon will be joining, he's about 10th in that line of cars, but car number 87, Origin Motorsport, Bob Yuan and Leo Yi Hong Lee lines up at the exit of the pit lane and is going to hope to have lovely clear track ahead of it. But there's plenty of space on the Shanghai International Circuit, and another car that's been a firm favourite over the years, Porsche Center Okazaki, been running 2 cars most of this season and looking to make their space. But this is the view forward. Lauren Heinrich will be waiting in the pit lane, but it's Wei Lu who'll be going out first. Look out for that. It's car number 4 for sort of metallic purple livery. Now leading the China Cup class and the silver category, Frankie Cheng Kong Fu and Adeli Fong, top of 2 categories. They could nail it down. Now looking at the practice times yesterday, one of the cars that was going very well was this one. It was the lone BMW, car number 89 from Team KRC. Ryan Kunfan and Maxime Ouston, both of them got going very well indeed. So 5 years since we were last here. And some of the drivers in the field on the way out, I bumped into Daniel Morad, and he was last here in 2008 when he drove 1 practice session in the A1 GP series, the single-seater series, but since then he's very much been a GT driver, picking up success around the world, so he thinks he remembers which way the track goes. Yesterday he went out and certainly was going well, but so there is his car, Daniel Morad, showing with Cao Chi. We'll Tao in the car at the moment, waiting to get onto the circuit. The lights go green and off we go. 15 minutes of qualifying coming right up. 32 cars going out to play. Let's hope they don't trip each other. Heng Ming down there waiting to go. Right, nose to tail at the moment. They'll need to space themselves out. 2 Ferraris from Harmony Racing, the second one rather delaying. Anthony Liu, you can see the bright yellow and red Porsche getting rather impatient to get out and maximise the track time. Here's the view again from the Nissan GTR. Hirobon going out onto the circuit. brand new grandstands all the way around the entry to turn 1 and halfway around the corner where it rises up to turn 2. I reckon they're the best seats in the house and only being built at the moment, but very, very impressive new structure. Very busy from early on, and that's Ishan Perez who was flashing the lights in the number 911 Porsche, another one from the Absolute Racing camp. Of course, Absolute Racing running 2 Porsches, 2 Audis and 1 Ferrari, so very, very busy. And one of their home circuits, we've got a base here and also at the Sepang International Circuit where we started the season. Top runner in the AM class, David Chipto Biantoro, sharing again with Christian Colombo. He's got a tidy lead. Effectively, he just has to come 10th in one of the 2 races to put the AM title in the bag, but maybe by this evening when we've had the first race and he's got a point in the bag, then he can celebrate the championship in the number 75 Ferrari from fitting the Garage 75. There it is, going out onto the circuit in the AM class. It's had a really, really good, strong season. This is the point on the circuit where the drivers just, oh dear, we've already had a spinner. Car 99, we saw it being harried leaving the pits, and that's the Harmony Racing entry from Liu Hangcheng. Let's hope he can, yes he has, he's got some motive power. He's a little more motive power, but look, the brake lights are on. That's, I think, up at turn 5. What we don't want are any yellows. Just looking to see if any yellows have been put out there. Right, here we go, this is the serious bit. Out of the hairpin, that's turn 14 into 15, up to the final corner, turn 16. So the first few cars, this is the view from Anthony Lu. He's a championship challenger. He's sitting at the moment down in 3rd place in the championship, but what are we seeing? Red flag. Red flag. How frustrating. You could sense the drivers was really, really raring to go, wanted to get that first flying lap, but unfortunately with the number 99 Ferrari, we saw off at the side of the track, Harmony Racing Ferrari with Chinese racer Liu Hangcheng. I just hope that was going to be able to trickle clear, but I think that's up at turn 5, waiting to see if that can be clear. Oh, it has got going again, so hopefully it'll be a very quick red flag. But for all the drivers who were, including Anthony Lu, just coming out of the penultimate corner, looking to get the perfect entry onto the start-finish straight to start their first flying lap, they've got to sort of breathe, keep calm, go round. But of course, it's a very hot day, and racing tyres do not always love the heat. It was 30 degrees, it might reach 33 today. The talk of a typhoon coming in tomorrow. We think it'll be after the race. The race is in the morning tomorrow, late morning. Hopefully it'll come through, but maybe it'll do that thing where it comes in and just gets the track wet. Is it wet enough to rain tyres towards the end of the race? There could be a real level of jeopardy at the end of the championship. But right now, we just need to get that Harmony Racing Ferrari out of the way. Now, did these cars go out and then come back in? But certainly quite a few lining up at pit exit. Yeah, they did. So red flag, just waiting to see any messages coming in as to how soon the cars can get back out there onto the circuit, and quite a few of them. Unfortunately, the front runners, I think, had to go on round because they came past the pit in before the red flag was flown, and that includes the first handful of cars, including Anthony Lu. So that's a bit more tyre where he doesn't want, but then he's going to find himself at the back of the line along with all the others that muscled their way out at the exit of the pit lane. Just trying to gauge what the problem is with this car, but finally it looks as though Liu Hangcheng has got it hooked up, either enough to get off the side of the circuit, which I think is his option. Oh, this is really, really frustrating for everybody concerned, notably for Liu Hangcheng, but the temperature will be rising in the cockpits for all the cars that are still sitting in the pit lane down there. The one leading the pack at the end of the pit lane is James Yu Kwai, and James will be going better and better in that number 41. Audi, race winner already this year. This is the sister car, Wang Chen, driving the sister Harmony Racing Ferrari with the Rover Oils livery on board. And in the background you can hear the music ringing out, but right now it's really the music of the racing engines we want to hear at full tilt. But let's hope this number 99 Ferrari can be properly removed from where it's parked. But right now it's already, as tyre temperatures are being checked down there. Heat haze continues to rise. It's just starting to cloud over. It was very, very blue skies yesterday. Today it's a little more broken sky. Track conditions about perfect, but temperature rising all the time. Okay, I think it was just these are the first handful of cars, including several of the championship challengers. Car 87 coming down through that heat haze. That's Wan Bo and Leo Yi-Hong Lee's car, Origin Motorsport. Porsche leading the crew, and in fact it's the front-running Porsches who tended to be at the front of the queue, and they're the ones who've had to do that extra lap before coming back round, and they'll join the line in the pits ready to go waiting for those lights to turn green, but they have had to the extra mileage. So Bob Yuan second in the championship, Lu Wei championship leader, Anthony Liu, three of those, the top three cars in the championship are all at the front of the queue. They've all had to do that extra lap. But car 36, this is the one Frankie Cheng Kung Fu shares with Adelie Fong, leading the Silver Cup class, leading the China Cup class. And in the China Cup, it's very close, only 4 points clear of Bob Yuan and Leo Yihong Li in the Origin Porsche. That's the one leading the pack, the green and white car. Second in the overall championship, second in the China Cup championship. But the 99 Ferrari, thank goodness, has found whatever it was required to drive back to the pits. At least we're not having to wait for that car to be rescued, and hopefully that message is coming back to the pits. Yes, it was up at turn 5, I think, because at that point he's just going down through the sweepers behind the, how should we say, capacious paddock here at the Shanghai International Circuit. But here come the second and third cars in the championship. They will be joining the back of the queue when the drivers go back out. And remember, the qualifying session, the clock has stopped with 12 minutes 43 seconds remaining, and those championship challengers, well, they should be rejoining from the back of the queue. They've driven past the queue because they've decided to go and park in front of their pit garages, but as soon as we go green, they will be losing valuable seconds. Know what they're doing? They're actually going to go and wait in the secondary queue of cars. No, they're going to their pit garages. Of course, their garages are very close to pit out. It's a very, very long pit lane here at the Shanghai International Circuit, and even in early morning, it's 10:17, the temperature is already rising. You don't want to be in the sun any longer than you possibly have to be. Wei Lu, championship leader, and yesterday certainly his teammate Lauren Heinrich, a very talented German racer, was setting some very, very impressive practice times. There's the message, engine off for Wei Lu, and it's also just sort of put your brain into slight idle there. You've got to refocus, because you can imagine all drivers sit in the pits before they go out. They sort of imagine the twists and turns, the rises and falls of the circuit, and it's almost a form of purgatory watching this 99 Ferrari limping its way back round. Clearly a broken vessel, but if it can get all the way back to the pits, or alternatively just pull off the circuit somewhere, but then that would cost them both of their qualifying sessions. Would mean they'd have to start at the back, but let's keep an eye on those lights at the end of the pit lane. James Yu waiting to blast out, to be have the clear track ahead of him. We're just waiting for the number 99 Ferrari to make its way back to pit in, and then once the people are confident, the officials are confident it's not only in but also not failed in the pit entry, then the lights will go green. It's now all about keeping the drivers cool and the drivers focused. And this one always stands out from the crowd. Origin Motorsport, Chinese team making a real splash at this top level here in Asia, and certainly Wei Lu has been having a fantastic year. But still we wait, still waiting for the 99 Ferrari from Harmony Racing to come back in. And those lights from go to red to green will have 12 minutes and 43 seconds. Instead of 15 minutes, effectively we've had a lap removed from their time, a lap and a bit, and that could be crucial. It probably takes off the possibility. Here it is, 10:19 in the morning, a line of cars in the pit lane, a line of the championship challengers pretty much all in front of their garages in the background. And there is the AM class leader. We are going. You can hear the rising note in the background. We have 12 minutes and 30 seconds remaining for this penultimate qualifying session of the 2024 Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia. Who's going to grab the first pole? The pole for this afternoon's race? Well, let's find out, because it's going to be very clear in just over 12 minutes time, the identity of that driver. But right now we simply cannot guess. Will we have a clear run? But James Yu leading the way for Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. He's got the clear track. The Chinese driver with the Yorkshire accent pressing on very nicely indeed. The sister car is in the hands of Akash Nandi, the Malaysian racer, who's showing, sorry, that's his own car, beg your pardon. Car 40 is all in the hands of Antares Zhao, who's joined this weekend. Expected to have Marcus Winkelhock as his teammate. Marcus is unwell, so it's all in Antares, but the team are looking to put one now. A car you haven't probably seen before, car number 2, one of the extra entries this weekend, Phantom Global racing in pink. Hubo and Dylan Pereira, a top-level Porsche racer in the UK, in Europe, and Dylan nailed the Porsche Super Cup Championship back in 2022. He comes with pedigree, but racing an Audi, that's something a little bit different for him. Car 93, the Porsche from AES Fanatec Global Racing. That's gone into Fuvasak, and he's showing the Thai racer showing with Joel Eriksson. So the sort of blue and yellowy gold, about right for a Swedish driver in terms of race livery. And AMAC Motorsports Porsche, that's the one that is the challenger in the AM Championship, but really for Ben Porsche and the gang, and he's in the car at the moment. Andrew McPherson does the second session. They really are an outside chance. There are 50 points to play for across the two races. They're down by 49 points. Right, let's focus on championship leader and the car that's second in the championship, the two Origin Motorsport Porsches. But it's the two Audis from Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute that lead the way round. James Yu pressing on. Akash Nandi will take it over in the second session. Driver 1 qualifies for race 1. Driver 2 qualifies for tomorrow's race, race number 2. That's the one that the Typhoon may have a little starring role to play. Then again, it may not, but everybody is keeping an eye on the weather charts. But today seems to be set fair here at the Shanghai International Circuit. Wait to see what the first flying lap will be, and it will come from the driver of this Audi, James Yu, pressing the way around. That really does stand out with that sort of acid yellow livery on an otherwise grey and black car. Through the twisters. That section behind the paddock, you can really see the drivers working. Then they come down to this corner, a left-hand hairpin that does seem to go on for quite a long time. It's quite a broad hairpin. Then you open out onto this stubby little straight that takes you up to effectively the mirror of the first couple of corners. And instead of turning right, instead of turning right, you turn left. Here we go. And then you start turning right. Long flow. Almost a constant radius, but it's the exit of this corner that's so vital because it leads onto the longest straight of the circuit. And I tell you, if you've walked it, it seems to go on for about a month. Down you go, and of course, one of the most exciting points on the circuit is up ahead. It's the hairpin at the far end where so many race incidents happen. At this rate, James Yu's almost about to catch the car number 1, last year's champion, Anthony Lu. Luckily, he hooks it up. He's waiting to accelerate out of here and then go through and start his first flying lap. But here we are with James Yu trying to finish his flying lap. Oh, number 77 Harmony Racing Ferrari is just about getting to delay. James Yu just got away with it. I think Yu's going to accelerate. Let's see what the first time on the board is going to be. The answer is 2 minutes 1.361. That's bang on the money for good laps yesterday, but he would have been a little bit frustrated. I don't think it cost him time, but his second flying lap, you could sense he really reckoned that might be the sweet spot, and unfortunately that number 77 Ferrari right across his bow, so he won't welcome Wei and Chen's presence. He's got past him, but that's slightly stymied the first part of his lap. Andre Canard, second on the charts at the moment, the number 296 Ferrari, young Andre Canard. But that's way off. It's 2 minutes 4. And Wheelin Han also not quite on the money in third place. But here is the championship leader, Lu Wei. Just remember that the front runners in the championship all were at the front of the queue and just missed pit in when the red flag was flown, so they have not laid down their flying lap, but this is it now, and the advantage for them, they left enough of a gap for no one really to trip up over anyone else. So, Wei Lu, out of the corner. Best time to beat 2 minutes 1. Still waiting for them to come through. Early in the lap still. Bob Yuan going very well indeed as well. Wei Lu going better still. And Anthony Lu better still so. So this is a story unfolding, the top 3 challenges in the championship. And unfortunately, it looks though It's gone into Fuvasak, has gone out. Has he gone off on a point where another flag will be flown? It's up at turn number 8. Will it affect these drivers? No, they got down the long back straight. They are fine. Oh, Wei Lu getting a little bit of a wobble into the hairpin. Gets the braking done. Then you've got the funny little kink. And then it's up to the sweeping left-hander. Let's see what there's still. At the moment, we've still got James Yu on pole by, well, it was 2.5 seconds. And then Bob Yuan has just swept through to go within 0.4 of a second. Wei Lu, just over under a second down, and Anthony Lu behind him, also not in the 2:01. So that really was a great lap from James Yu. 2 minutes 1.3, but we have a red flag flying just before a second flying lap could go on the board for James Yu. But this could fall into his lap. 6.5 minutes remaining, second red flag, and by dint of being able to dive into the pits and be first at the exit of the pit of the queue, waiting to leave the pits for the restart, James Yu had the clear track and he's absolutely maximised it. Unfortunately, Vuitton gone into Fuvasak, off in the area behind the paddock at turn 8, and his car sitting in a place of potential danger, so the red flag has been flown. Slightly unusual spot to go off there. It's a right-hander, and somehow he's just gone on. Was he given an assist? Did he go off on his own? But at the moment, we've got 29 cars have set a flying lap. 77 Ferrari has not. The red flag just scuppered it for them. The 99 Ferrari, likewise, both the Harmony Racing Ferraris in a bit of trouble. The other one was the one that brought out the first red flag, and it made it back to the pits eventually. And then the field was triggered, so the red flag came out with 12 minutes 43 in the clock. It's come out for a second time with 6 minutes 34 seconds still to go. Here's the car that caused the first stoppage, and certainly the body language in the pits, they look as though it is potential that can get into queue and go out for the restart. So whatever the little glitch was it an electrical glitch? They're still checking it, but the sister car number 77, one of the ones that hasn't set a flying lap, is first in the queue for the restart, and then everybody else will fall into position behind to go out and take that restart. So frustration too for the drivers number 2 in all of those crews, because their session starts 7 minutes after this one ends. It's very, very quick fire. Fanatec GT qualifying, 2 15-minute sessions. And for these drivers, Wei Lu at the moment, well, there he is, car number 4, third on the time charts. He's 0.967 of a second down, but you really did sense for all the drivers involved, their second flying lap was going to be their quicker one. James Yu just missed out on starting because the red flag was blown, but he has already posted the best time. 2 minute 1.361 seconds, which is 0.372 second clear of Bob Yuan, who's second in the championship and second in the China Cup championship. So for Bob Yuan, that is a good place to be. Who knows what we can do, because 6 minutes 34 seconds, the remaining time on the clock, is going to go by very, very quickly indeed. Chance to get a look at the Lamborghinis in the pack. Now Biagni's car sharing with Edoardo Liberati, that's 6th in the championship, but at the moment he's 28. Let's do the maths. 45 points down on Wei Lu, and Wei knows there are 50 points to play for, so it's unlikely Biagni and Edoardo Liberati will be able to withdraw. There are all sorts of permutations mathematically. We've all drawn up charts, and we'll be drawing up more after this evening's races. Some of these class categories may be sorted, quite possibly will be. Certainly the AM one ought to be sorted this afternoon here at the Shanghai International Circuit, but there are so many permutations. You can write down that Wei Lu could take the title this afternoon if he finishes 5th, but that's requiring all of the people who are challenging him to score fewer points. So you have to focus on the fact one of his championship challengers could just win, and that could upset the whole apple cart. And talking of Bob Yuan, sharing with Liu Yihong Li, this green and white Porsche from Origin Motorsport. As we pointed out, second in the China Cup category, which is for the Chinese drivers for Chinese teams, and second in the overall. So really, really very well placed indeed. Car 36, Frankie Chen Kung Fu, who's out in this session. And unfortunately for him, with all the scrambling around, with these 2 red flags, good, his first flying lap, only for 17th position on the charts, leading the China Cup category, leading the Silver Cup category. So this is a real scramble. This is not what the front runners wanted, but for Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute, well, they're not complaining, they're sitting pretty at the moment. Is that time? 2 minutes 1.361. But James Yu going to be good enough. He's a race winner this year, he's won before, but really does seem to be finding his form with that Audi. Top of the charts, Bob Yuan second, and championship leader Lu Wei at the very, very top of 3rd position. But actually bearing in mind that he's got championship rival Anthony Lu 1 position further back, things looking pretty good. So Ben Porter, or William Ben Porter to give him his full name, and Andrew McPherson, they are the championship outsiders, 49 points down with 50 to play for in the AM category, but they've been with us for so many years with the Lamborghini, then Porsche, real backbones of the championship. And Tao Chi and Daniel Morad sharing this car. It's Chi who's getting warm in the cockpit at the moment. Fast lane open in the pit, that's why the cars are lined up out there. Red flag still on display, red lights at the pit exit, and just waiting. All the drivers and crews are just sort of wanting to get a gauge about how soon are we likely to go back out on the track to burn up the final 6.5 minutes. Humidity rising, temperature rising, and sort of pressure rising as well down there for a lot of the drivers, particularly the ones who haven't managed to get a time on the board. Red light flashing on the gantry here in Shanghai. Red flags being waved around the circuit. It's the calm before the storm. That could be the story of tomorrow as well, but one of our camera cars, Hirabon, the team Gojigan Nissan, so popular wherever it goes, and certainly you think of the bloodline of the Nissan Skyline GTR, so many years, whether a road car or a race car, such a pedigree, and has its own fan club, Team Gojigan. But for now, we're sitting, waiting. Heat haze rising over the pit lane. And still waiting for the signal. And still, of course, why are we waiting? They cry in the background. It's unfortunately because Fujikon into Fuvasak, car number 93, the very attractive AAS Phantom Global Racing Porsche in metallic blue and gold race livery. There it is, but doesn't appear clear where the officials have been told we might like a qualifying session to follow afterwards. That really needs to be hooked up and towed away. For all the crews, they've just got to keep calm, keep cool, keep focus, and hopefully that Porsche can be withdrawn. But of course, when one qualifying session leads within 7 minutes of the end of this, we get the start of the next one. It's very unlikely if they pull that Porsche out of the way from the edge of the circuit, they'll get it back to the pits, and it means that Joel Eriksson we may not even get a chance to go qualifying for race number 2. I'm sure he'll be allowed to start it, force majeure and other elements like that, but we cannot afford to lose much more time. It's a packed agenda here at the Shanghai International Circuit, and we do need to get the cars out on the track for qualifying. And for the drivers who are listed as driver 2, who go out in the second session, it's a real case of just managing their expectations at the moment, keeping their cool, keeping their calm. There's nothing they can do about it. But for driver 1 in each of these cars, they unfortunately are sitting in the cockpits. Warm place to be, so all the doors flung open as much as possible. Except for the driver of the number 77 Ferrari, who's sitting at the front of the queue. No time on the board for YN Chen as yet, so we'll wait to see what he can do. But clearly he's sitting in there, stewing in his own juices, waiting for the session to restart. You can imagine all the drivers just over on the radio. How soon? How soon? What are we doing? Oh, looking at the gauges in the car. Temperatures rising. Engines off for most of them. And car 14, that's the GTO racing team that Brian Lee has been entering from Taipei for such a long time, sharing with Japanese racer Hideto Yasuoka, but it's Brian on board at the moment. He always runs his car in this very attractive metallic blue race livery. That's down towards the far end of the pit lane, the pit entry end of the pit lane. I say far end as we look down from a camera from a new structure. It's just outside turn 1, the wonderful sweeping uphill right-hander, and it's a fantastic new grandstand. Still being finished, but it's really gone up very fast indeed, but provides that fantastic elevated view down into the pit lane. And one thing that strikes people whenever they come to this amazing circuit for the first time is the sheer scale of the place. The grandstands opposite are enormous. If you're up at the top, you almost get a nosebleed from the pressure. You've got those 2 wing-shaped structures leading from grandstand to the top of the pit building, affording a very fabulous view from the media centre, which is the one by the start line, or the finish line more to the point, and then the VIP hospitality area looking down towards turn 1 and out to the other windows back down the track. But right now we're just waiting for signal. It looks as though, certainly as Anthony Liu's car, the bright red and yellow Porsche, comes into view, he's fairly clear that it's going to be starting quite soon, and he doesn't want to be at the back of the second queue. He's going to be at the front of the second queue. One of the Vincenzo Sospiri Lamborghinis in the background, that's car number 6, Bian Yi. So he has pulled out of his area in front of his pit garage as well. quite a lot of the cars' doors have been closed, and drivers have clearly got the signal we're about to restart. Otherwise, they'd be wanting their doors open to keep as much heat out of the cockpit to let it out. Right now, waiting for those lights to go from red to green. 6 minutes and 34 seconds of this first qualifying session. About to restart. But how soon? How soon? How much are those temperatures going to continue to rise? And who's in the queue at the front? Have we got the fastest drivers at the front? No, we've got the fastest drivers either sitting in front of their pit garages or some way down that queue. So a lot of drivers are going to have to sort of hang back a little bit, make space for themselves, or do some overtaking very quickly on this out lap and make sure they're behind, have a little bit of space to play with. So these are all added elements that drivers are going to have to consider, and their teams are going to have to help them. Who are the 3 new cars? They'll be saying, what sort of pace can they run? They will have had to done their homework and work out. As I pointed out, the number 2 Phantom Global Racing Porsche is new this weekend. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I say Phantom Global Racing. I always say Porsche. It's an Audi. It's the pink and white Audi that's running in the Pro-Am class for Juan Bo and Dylan Pereira. Would have been better if it was a Porsche with Pereira. Maybe that's why I thought that. Number 99, the Harmony Racing Ferrari. That's the one of the extra cars. That was the one that stopped early on for Liu Hangcheng. And the EBM Porsche number 321. I saw that quite far towards the front of the queue. It looks like it's about 6 in the line. It's blue, white, and sort of silvery grey, a split livery across that car. Target time, 2 minutes, 1.361 seconds. Will we get anyone down to 2 minutes flat? We may, but with only 6.5 minutes remaining, I think it's more likely when we've got the pros running in the second qualifying session, the second set of 15 minutes, hopefully 15 uninterrupted minutes of qualifying. AMAC Porsche crew sitting and waiting. It's Ben Porter. He's listed as a 18th on the list of times at the moment. I feel those times are going to be scattered and scrambled. They're certainly not quite in the natural order at the moment. And importantly, in terms of the championship, 3 of the top runners are in the top 4. But it's James Yu who's sitting ahead of all of them. The number 41 Audi Sport Asia team, absolute entry, with the bright yellow flashes all over its livery, waiting to go. Number 30. Had a fair few views of that Craft Bamboo Racing entry. That's Tao Chi and in the car, and Daniel Murad standing in the relative cool of the pit garage. Being in the shade, vital here. Red flag, red lights. Will we have red mist to go with it, or will the drivers keep their cool when they go onto the circuit? Look at the heat haze shimmering over the cars. Quite magical, unless you're sitting in the cars. One car that sort of stands out, it's about 8 places down in the queue, the bright orange Elegant Racing Team entry for Macanese racer Liu Liu. Well, let's go down and head down to the pit lane because we're going down to Amy in the pit lane. She's with car 87 with Jeffrey Lee.
Leo, partner of 87, Bob. It's quite frustrating to have 2 red flags during a qualifying session, and you and your sister car are P1, P2 right now. How is it affecting?
We are P2 and P3. I think my teammate did a really good job. He set a lap time on the first lap. Usually it's difficult for him. Today he managed to do that. I'm really happy for him. But we still have like six minutes to go, so I think most of the drivers didn't do their best time yet, so we will see after the red flag.
Let's cross our fingers for Bob, and best luck to you too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Leo Yi, who's down there being cool, calm and collected. But as he pointed out, the Origin Porsches are sitting 2nd and 3rd on the timesheets at the moment. They're championship challengers, and they're sitting 2nd in the championship, so you need both your drivers to qualify well for both the races. It's a bit of a gamble. What's going to go on? We've got a few cars, unfortunately, under investigation. Numbers 51, 63, 77, 509, 11. None of those are the championship challenges, but they're under investigation for speeding during the red flag period. So that's the AMAC Motorsport Porsche in the AM class. That's Ben Porter. Car number 63 is Vincenzo Sospiri. That's Daniel Bilski in on board the Lamborghini this weekend. Car number 500 is Hirabon. That's one of our camera cars. Car number 77, also under investigation. That's Waiyan Chen. That's the 77 Ferrari for Harmony Racing. That's the one sitting at the end of the pit queue. And 911, that's Ishan Piris. And he is in one of the Absolute Racing Porsches. So still this calm, still the wait as Vutikon Fuvasak's Porsche is being recovered. Unfortunately for him, that's one of the cars, one of 3 crews that have not even set a time as yet. But almost every one of those crews that has set a time will reckon they can go better still. It does seem that the second flying lap is likely to be the faster of those. They've been denying those, but bear in mind those cars have done extra mileage on their in laps under the 2 red flags. So it's all about tyre management, and I think for a lot of them it was about getting the heat back in the tyres sufficiently to go for that second flying lap. But for most of them, just 1 flying lap so far. It's been start and stop, or stop and start, depending how you want to look at it. But still the lights at pit exit are red. Still we wait, with Wei and Chen's car at the front of the queue. The Harmony Racing Ferrari, the Rover Oils sponsorship on across its nose and on its doors. And talking of doors, quite a few more are being opened, so clearly there's a slightly longer delay than the teams were led to believe. They'd had the doors closed, ready for their cars to go back out onto the circuit. And then more delays, still waiting for the number 93 AAS Phantom Global Racing Porsche to be recovered from where it went off early in the lap. Through the gravel, sitting there. We did see fleetingly the marshals around it, but the car hadn't been hooked up at that point. But hold on, doors open, now doors being closed. So for mechanics jumping up back onto the pit wall. So clearly we are about to go out again. Just remember the time left on the clock, just over 6.5 minutes, 6 minutes and 34 seconds to be precise. And from the moment this session ends, the clock does not. It starts counting down from 7 minutes to 0, and that will be when qualifying session number 2 starts. So it really is a case of getting the cars back to the garage. We are green again. Anthony Lu did a very interesting job there. He broke his way into the queue near the front. That could be absolutely vital for last year's champion. He found a little gap in the cars in the fast lane, was let into it. A couple of other cars doing the same behind them, because he didn't want to be at the back of this queue, because if he lets the whole queue come out, that means time continues to tick by. We've already lost 30 seconds of this remaining 6 minutes and 34 seconds. So get the tyres back up to heat, get the driver fully focused again, make space on the circuit. That's going to be the hard thing to do. Wei Lu, championship leader, car sitting in the pit lane, about to go out, about to join the heat of the action. Ben Porter, the AM Challenger, AMAC Motorsport, but still Origin Motorsport keep the purple Porsche in the pits. And likewise, the car second in the championship, their other car, it's green and white, it's right in front of Lu Wei's car. Wait, but they have to make sure they get them back out ahead of the queue, because these other cars that were quick out of the pit lane when we had 6 minutes and 34 to play with, they'll be coming around. Riding on board with Anthony Lu, his teammate Alessio Picariello will be waiting in the pit garage, waiting and watching, but at the moment this car is 4th in the charts, but every single one of the drivers will reckon they can improve on their previous best. Out of the long right-hander onto the even longer back straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, finish your book, look up, think about your braking, what's in front of you, down to the right-hand hairpin. Past the trademark grandstands with those wonderful canopies above them. Brake. We had a Formula 4 race here earlier with the drivers going on over the top of each other down to this hairpin. Doesn't matter what category we're racing, it's a very tricky corner. You're trying to brake as late as possible. Now up to the final corner. Wait. Again, it's a pretty much a blind entry. You don't want to take too much of the curve on the outside. And for Anthony Lu, he doesn't want that other car in front of him. It's the Full Gas Motorsport car, one of the crew from Korea. Actually going pretty well at the moment, but he'll want to clear that one. And it's Han Ming Wang at the wheel of that, who goes a little bit wide, and that's compromising Anthony Lu. But if you get someone with you in turns 1 and 2, he's seemingly completely oblivious, but he's got every right to be there as well. Anthony, I don't think, handled that possibly as well as he wanted to do, because that's compromised him through turns 1, 2, 3. Here we are, turn 4, and he wants to get past. Lights are flashing up to turn 5, but Full Gas Motorsport not pulling out of the way at all. So instead it's about making us, oh dear, the other Harmony Racing Ferrari, the one that's caused the first red flag, car 99, has stopped again. Not necessarily in a dangerous position, please no more red flags. Just waiting to look in. Finally, Full Gas Motorsport Porsche pulls out the way, and Anthony Lu's have to go right. What I got left, 3.5 minutes. Am I going to have clear track next time around? He's just got to go through the motions on this lap and be sure he's in the perfect position to start his second flying lap since the second red flag. This one has been compromised. Turns 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. But definitely not where he wanted to be, tucked up behind the Full Gas Motorsport Porsche. up the little infield run towards the point at which you start turning to return on the long back straight. You turn left and then you start turning right. Here we are on board with Anthony Lu. There's the left and now right. Giant grandstands in the background. And the flag has been flown red again. Harmony Racing, well, they caused the first with car 99. Wasn't their fault the second one, but it was again for the third one. So real disappointment down in their camp and for everybody else as well, because watching from the sidelines, there's nothing that can be done from their point of view. But so for James Yu, that lap of 2 minutes 1.361 seconds, surely we've got 3 minutes flat remaining in this session. That means if we get a third restart, that's our third red flag, it's going to be a massive scramble to leave the pits, get round in about 2 minutes 10 seconds, even for the fastest car, and then go for one final flying lap. Boy, oh boy, is this mind management for all of these drivers. The incidents have been innocuous. 2 stoppages for car 99 with some malady that just causes it to stop at the side of the circuit, and then Vuitton into Fuvasak, dropping the number 93 Porsche to the side of the circuit. And you know what? It's where you are on the restart that counts. Provisional pole sitter is sitting at the pit exit at the front of the queue, and the Porsches from Origin Motorsport are sitting second and third. Our championship leader, this is his car, third in the line for the restart when it comes about. And I think they'll have lost patience with Harmony Racing. They'll just take that number 99 Ferrari and take it off at a point when they can get it away from the circuit, because it's going to ruin everyone else's session if we have to keep waiting for that to be returned to the pits for a second time. Oh, now, the big question is, where is Anthony Lu? Third in the championship. Where is he around the circuit? Who's he got sitting in front of him? Otherwise, Lu Wei, championship leader, he's third in the queue for the restart. Bob Yuan is second in the queue for the restart. And James Yu, because they haven't always had top results this year, he and Akash and Andy are not in the overall championship reckoning. They're third in the Silver Cup class, but they're sitting at the front of the queue. Not only that, pole position, if you will, for the restart, but also provisional pole position with a time of 2 minutes 1.361 seconds. It's theirs to lose, and it really will be how the traffic works out for everyone else. But importantly for those 2 championship challengers from Origin Motorsport, the championship leader, the championship second place car, 4 ahead of 87. They are sitting second and third. They can afford to drop back a little bit, make space behind James Yu, who'll be very quick in his own right. And then they should be able to get round in time before the clock gets to 15 minutes completed to go for a fantastic flying lap and see if they can put themselves at the very top of the charts. But at the moment they're sitting second and third in the queue, second and third in the line that's about to leave the pits. In fact, the order at the moment in the qualifying first session is 41.87.4. That's also the order in which they're going to leave the pit exit, to go out, to go around, get their banker lap, and then bam, try and deliver a time and try and improve on their times. But the time to beat has been set by the driver of this car number 41, the Audi at the front of the queue, James Yu, sitting there 2 minutes 1.361. I'm sure he reckons he can go faster. In fact, he was certainly looking as though he was going to do that on his second flying lap. Then that second red flag scuppered that. But right now he's sitting pretty, but it's feeling a little bit like Groundhog Day for a lot of these crews down here. Let's hope the second qualifying session starts and runs solidly for 15 minutes. But there's a lot of pressure, and these other little elements at this, the final round of the championship, they're really starting to mount. Absolute Racing, very busy down there, and this is one of their cars. Car number 1 is James Lu, last year's champion. Sorry, Anthony Lu, getting my Lu's back to front. Anthony Lu, last year's champion. Third in this year's title race.
3 minutes. A lap is 2 minutes. You have more than enough time, so relax, okay? Just do a fucking good lap.
This is crazy!
You have 1 lap, motherfucker!
Okay, so pressure high, so apologies for the swearing there, but this is Anthony Lu feeling I'm a bit far down the queue. I need to be at the front. I need clear lap. You know, he needs to deliver. At the moment, he's sitting 4th on the chart, so in fact that may not be too bad, but that time, his time of 2 minutes 2.5 seconds could be beaten by others who are further ahead of him in the queue. So Anthony really feeling the pressure, but he knows he's got a really strong teammate in Alessio Picariello, and if he can qualify in the top few positions, of course he wants to be on pole position, then that will make his championship challenge easier. He's look as though he's about 6th in the queue, not as bad as I thought actually, just seeing Amy Ozawa, our pit lane reporter, charging around between the cars. I think she's just caught up with Alessio Picariello. Maybe we'll hear from Alessio shortly, but you can just cut that pressure with a knife down there. It is really mountaining. But James Yu, not in the championship reckoning for overall honours. He's in the reckoning. He's third in the silver class. Has he got pole position? Can't tell, but he's at the front of the queue, so he's got the best shot of improving his time. But the two cars behind, the Origin Porsches, green and white, that's 87. That's Bob Yuan. He's second in the championship, and the purple one behind is the championship leader, car number 4. But let's go down with Amy. She's caught up with the number 1 Porsche driver, with Alessio Picariello, and he will explain exactly how the pressure is for him.
So with the third red flag, we are here with Alessio, partner of car number 1. Alessio, I saw you had a big conversation just now. What did you talk about?
I just try to keep him calm, because obviously it's hot in the car, and all, you know, this situation upsets you really easily. They all want to go and do a lap time, so it's really frustrating for them. So I try to keep him down. He has now 1 more lap, but everyone is in the same situation. So if he keeps down, then it should be good.
So I hear we're gonna get back on track. He has nothing to lose, so all the best luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Belgian racer Alessio Picariello. But in fact, even better news for Anthony Lu, his teammate, is they've been given an extra 2 minutes. We've got 5 minutes rather than 3. Anthony's not waiting for anyone. He's picked up one of the few cars he wants to pass. Wants to get the Harmony Racing Ferrari behind him as well, but that means they should get 2 flying laps. And for a lot of the drivers, if that message has gone through, they'll be saying thank you, thank you, thank you. But Bob Yuan is leading that queue around. James Yu has already gone off into the distance. He didn't need to make space, so he's headed off. Now Bob Yuan in behind championship leader Lu Wei in the purple car behind him. They're all fast runners. The Harmony Racing Ferrari is in behind, and car number 40, that needs to improve. That's Antares out. He's not a championship runner because he just joined for this weekend, but sitting at the moment pretty well, up in 8th place. But you can, and in behind him is Anthony Lu. That was the driver who was getting so riled in the cockpit. Last year's champion. He needs to do well for his championship challenge, but also he's a driver from Shanghai. This is his home circuit, so he wants to deliver, round out the championship in style. He's certainly got the potential, but right now, hopefully Absolute Racing has got the message through to him. It's not 1 flying lap you're going for. There's the message. Q1 extended by 2 minutes. That's the message they need to get through to him. It means he's got 2 flying laps rather than 1. It releases the pressure a little bit. He's moved just ahead of Antares out, and he's hanging back a little bit behind the Harmony Racing Ferrari in front of him. But if he knows he's got a 2nd flying lap, maybe he wants to try and pass that down the back straight and without compromising himself too much. And he's got the really quick runners up in front of him, but actually he's got a degree of space. That's fine. James Yu leading the field down here. This is, remember, their outlap from the 3rd restart. He will be fine. He's going to have, with those extra 2 minutes, 2 flying laps to put on the board. He's got nobody in front. He's in the dream position. Bob Yuan's behind him, and Anthony Lu has done exactly what I said. Get past the Ferrari. He's also gone past Lu Wei. That could be interesting. So, 3rd driver in the championship, Anthony Lu, has gone past Lu Wei. I wonder if all the drivers know they've got 2 flying laps, but it's almost so Anthony Lu doesn't know that. So he's going to start this one in a dream position. The first 3 cars have got clear space, and Lu Wei's lost another position in the bunch. If he knows he's got 2 flying laps, he could actually back it off a little bit, because all the drivers in front are relatively fast. Bob Yuan is stretching away. Just watch the purple Porsche. Right, we had thought this was going to be their final flying lap, but with the extra 2 minutes, it means they've got this one and the next one. James Yu, it doesn't matter. He's just going to try and accelerate way at the front and have 2 clear flying laps. Will his time of 2 minutes 1.361 seconds remain? Bob Yuan, there he is, car number 87, 2nd in the championship. Will he topple the number 41 Audi? Margin between them at the moment, 0.372 of a second, which in ordinary circumstances, that's quite a lot. It's a long lap, remember. But in this session, it's been it's been stopped 3 times over, 3 red flags. It makes it really, really difficult for the drivers, the crews. The tyres get more mileage on them before they start having to go for these. So it's about cooling them down, warming them up, riding on board with Anthony Lu. Right, he's exactly where he needs to be on this first flying lap, even if this was just the only one. If they hadn't extended by 2 minutes, he's worked the track very, very well indeed to get this position. Left, right, this is the long, long right hand. It doesn't matter where you are in the early part of the corner, it's the speed you can carry out of it. Wait, well, now we're going onto the back straight, so lovely clear exit for him. And the straight goes on, but importantly for him, there's that long line of sight down the straight. And what he can see Bob Yuan up ahead of him by about 2 seconds on the track. That's absolutely fine. Right, let's remember the target time. 2 minutes 1.361. At the moment, Anthony Lu is down on 2 minutes 2.589, so 1.2 seconds down. But the car that's fastest so far is this car, the number 41 Audi from James Yu. Clear track ahead of him. We would have expected the checkered flag to be falling about 40 seconds from now, but there we go. That flying lap, we will see, waiting for the times to come. So onto the flying lap we go. Andre Canard has improved his lap timing. He's moved up into third place, the number 296 Ferrari. That was a really very good run for Absolute Corsa. So remember, Absolute Racing won 1 Ferrari, 2 Audis and 2 Porsches, just to keep things interesting. Who else is changing? Anthony Lu moved up to 4th overall. He was 4th overall. The 296 Ferrari put him back to 5th, but he's faster than Lu Wei, the championship leader. That could be important. 3 cars beneath 2 minutes and 2 seconds. The checkered flag has flown, meaning this is the final lap for all of them. Yan Yi moved up to 6th place, so that was a good run, the number 6 Lamborghini. Just looking for the sector times as they come through the first part of the circuit. So technical, looking at Anthony Lu, and in behind the car that moved to 3rd overall. Andre Canard, 296 Ferrari from Absolute Corsa. Car covered in ducks. Canard, French for duck. Quite a few of the drivers at the back of the queue have actually, they didn't get round to beat the checkered flag, but one of them, Ben Porter, the AMAC Porsche, has gone 6th fastest overall. He's 2 minutes 2.952, but he will have no further flying lap. But he's managed to go into 6th. David Chipto Biantoro, another AM runner, in fact the AM points leader by a huge margin, has put his Ferrari number 75 into 11th position. So they really scrambled very well indeed with that. But waiting for those timing splits to come in. How are they going to fall? James Yu, not a championship challenger overall. He takes a checkered flag and improves to 2 minutes 1.083 seconds. He's 6/10 of a second quicker than everyone else. Is Anthony Lu, number 1? Yes, he is going to improve. And as he does that, he suddenly went up into 2nd place. It's become 3rd because the 77 Harmony Racing Ferrari for Wei Chen has just gone top 2 minutes 0.908. Will that be toppled? Harmony Racing have had a horrible session with the sister car, the 99, but suddenly from nowhere, as these cars scramble towards the end of that, he goes top. It's Wei Chen, 2nd place James Yu, 3rd place Anthony Lu, Bob Yuan 4th. Who else is still to come through? I think we've pretty much got everyone across the line to that checkered flag. Final few cars scrambling. We're going to have an improvement. Where's the number 36 Audi at the moment? Waiting for it. Goes into 3rd place. Frankie Chen Kung Fu right at the end goes up. So that has helped him. Silver Cup points leader, China Cup points leader. So what we've got is suddenly a field with a Ferrari on top. We thought this was going to be a Porsche circuit, but just listen to the manufacturers. Up top, it's Wei Chen in his Ferrari, James Yu in his Audi, Frankie Chen Kung Fu in his Audi, and the top Porsche was Anthony Lu, the number 1, last year's champion, in his Porsche. We've got 3 silver crews at the top, then the top Pro-Am crew is Anthony Lu. Bob Yuan running in the Silver Am class, car 87 is 5th, and another Ferrari, Andre Canard, is 6th. That was a scramble. Hello, there is number 77, top for Wei Chen. And championship leader, Lu Wei, is down in 7th position, just ahead of Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. So really was a scramble there. And I'm just trying to see if any of the likely front runners has ended up way down the order. Esham Piris is not even in the top 20. That has been a scramble. So there are the positions, and right at the end, right at the death, if you will, Wei Chen goes to the top of the charts. The 77 Ferrari for Harmony Racing in the end point, 1.75 of a second ahead of James Yu in his Audi from Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. 3rd place, Frankie Chen Kung Fu pulled that one out of the bag, the Chinese star, 0.4 of a second down. But it was Anthony Lu and Alessio Picario, the top Pro-Am crew, in 4th overall. So certainly they have cleared the hurdle in terms of their championship challenge. And the points leader, Wei Lu, down in 7th position, some distance off. Silver Am, Bob Yuan, there he is. You can see the graphic on the right-hand side, car number 87. Down the order a little bit, but It's been a scramble, it's been a real charge, but Climax Racing ended up as the top AM crew at the end. And the times I said for Ben Porter, 6th fastest, that became 13th by the end as the real scramble sorted itself out. It's always going to be hard to keep spotting all the times when you have effectively 1 flying lap and for some crews 2 flying laps on that restart, but it was very tricky. A wise decision to add the extra 2 minutes, otherwise a lot of the drivers would have only been able to get their out lap in after the 3rd and final restart. So that was busy. And I must say, really congratulations to Harmony Racing, with one of their cars having 2 problems causing 2 of the stoppages, and the other one managed to work its space in the traffic and was up with the front runners, but it was near the front of the queue, and YN Chen delivered to take that pole position. But they can't rest on their laurels, because there is the car that's fastest so far. But driver out and driver in. We move on to qualifying session number 2. Liang Jiatong, another Chinese driver, increasing number of those taking over from his Chinese compatriot. Lu Wei bringing his purple Porsche in and parking it up to hand over to his teammate Lauren Heinrich, and the German racer has been absolutely flying since the cars got here. Delayed by a typhoon, they got here in time to hit the track for the first time yesterday. We heard from Alessio Picariello, that's the cockpit he will be climbing on board, and Anthony Liu can get out, having done a really good job, but he found himself having to work very, very hard, last year's champion, to get through the queue of cars, to get towards the front of the pack. So he'd have no one in front of him when he went to set a flying lap, and Alessio Picariello's already got in and will be 3rd in the line of the cars at pit exit. So that was almost as important as Anthony's lap. Get the 2nd driver out, so at least he can have a really good shot at trying to take pole position for tomorrow's race. And that's Alessio Picariello. Likewise, Ralph Aron, driver from Estonia, will take over this car, the Climax Racing Mercedes, car number 22. And let's go down and catch up with Amy, with a driver who took pole for race 1.
Here with a pole sitter on home soil. Congratulations. How do you feel?
It feels unreal, because since yesterday the track has been developing, and the very familiar SIC Shanghai has been in some way very unfamiliar because of the grip level, just insane. So to be able to take a pole was a fantastic feeling.
You really proved it, that you know this track very well. Good job, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Well, very, very happy YN Chen there. Yeah, all the better to get anywhere, but to get it on home ground. But also even better still when the session was so disrupted. It was about finding your space out on the track with so much traffic trying to pile out there after the 3 restarts. Let's hope that qualifying 2 starts at 15 minutes and runs all the way down to 0 seconds left. The checkered flag will fall. It was very, very complicated for the teams in that first qualifying session. 9-11 at the front of the queue, and that will be Tanart Satyan Tirikul, Thai racer, who will be doing that 2nd qualifying session. This is the view from the cockpit of car number 4, Lauren Heinrich, who I said was going very, very nicely through the practice sessions. Unleashed, and if it runs without stoppages, then the drivers have a much clearer program of how they get the heat in the tyres. They'll have time to sort of plan. If one lap doesn't go too well, you can still back off a little bit, make space and go for another flying lap. But you know, still with 32 cars going out to play, maybe 31, I haven't checked if the number 93 Porsche has been brought back in. That caused the 2nd red flag. That was the car from AAS Phantom Global Racing. But for most of the top crews, they look as though they've got their drivers out on the track pretty quickly indeed. Liu Yi Hong Li, car number 87. Origin Motorsport entered the series a couple of years ago and have really, really grown to challenge the sort of the top teams, the Craft Bamboo Racings, the Absolute Racings, Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, and you know, it's a real measure of the growth of GT racing in particular in China that shows that they can come in at this top level, and Climax Racing also in the mix along with the regular championship challengers, so growing as they go. And a circuit like the Shanghai International Circuit really gives them the space to go out and play. And when it was opened, when the World Championship for Formula One came here for the first time, the crews, the teams, everyone was just amazed by the scale of this place. Bear in mind, this was built on a piece of land that was marshy. The ground wasn't stable. They had to sink enormous polystyrene blocks into the ground to stabilize it. You wouldn't tell. You'd think this was on rock solid ground, giant buildings, and it's really matured very nicely. But at certain points, you look and see what's changed. In the background of the shot, you can see the pink, orange, and red seats, the brand new building that wraps around turn 1. What a place to be, hard braking, overtaking into turn 1, and as the track then goes up the hill, brilliant place to watch get your viewing in. And the buildings in the background, when I first came here, that's the view as we look over the pit in. They were open fields when this circuit started, but the Jiading area, the north of Shanghai, has grown and grown. Very, very elegant development. Great big boulevards, tree-lined boulevards, and immaculate buildings. It really has been from scratch, built very nicely indeed. Right, this is the serious part. That's the exit of turn 3 into turn 4. This is the car that qualified second for the first race. And at the moment, it's Akash Nandi at the wheel. He's taken over from James Yu. This is one of a pair of cars from Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. Nice clear track. So just waiting to see which car is going to pop the time on the board. And bear in mind, the fastest time was 2 minutes, 0 seconds, 0.9 something or other in the first qualifying session. Potential for this to be beaten for 2 reasons. One, it's the pro drivers in a lot of the Pro-Am lineups. You normally have the Am driver go first, so the faster driver will go second. And if we can have a clear session without stoppages, they'll be able to sort of come to a fast lap rather more easily than they could in the scramble with those 3 red flags in the first of the qualifying sessions. And just hearing a couple of cars under investigation for speeding during the red flags in qualifying session 1. I'll keep an eye on that, but it's not pertinent to this at the moment. But 296 was one of them, which is the absolute Corsa Ferrari that Andre Canard had qualified so well. So a lot of the drivers now coming down towards the hairpin, the long hairpin, the right-hand hairpin at the end of the back straight. There it is. It's got this funny little kink just on the exit. There we are. A lot of drivers run out over the curbing. I remember one year lots of drivers being pinged for it just going over the 4 wheels over the edge of the circuit. Right, now we're going to see the times coming out onto the board. Lamborghini at the front, and then Akash Nandi tucked in behind. First time on the board, Akash Nandi, 2 minutes 1.577 seconds. That's very good indeed. Alessio Picariello second by just over a quarter of a second behind. And then Akash Nandi having to adjust his position. Ralph Aron just pulling out of the pits, and just as he really wanted to get a lovely sweep into turn 1, had to be adapted. And it looks like Daniel Morad, car number 30, Craft Bamboo Racing, might be able to go to the top of the charts. Maxi Gertz is now the time at the top, just ahead of the number 500, Yu Kanemaru. So it's a Mercedes, car 88 for Craft Bamboo Racing, Nissan second, Akash Nandi third for Audi. There is Daniel Morad, who's setting some very quick times. It looks like he should be going to the top of the charts. So clearly one practice session in 2008 in an A1 GP car is good. 2 minutes 0.679 of a second, so he's 0.2 of a second quicker than Maxi Gertz at the moment. That's Mercedes first now for Craft Bamboo Racing, and Mercedes second for Craft Bamboo Racing. They've done their homework very nicely indeed. Akash Nandi, car number 41, is good for 4th, and the car behind him, Alessio Picariello, good for 5th. And 6th place, Porsche Center Okazaki Yuta Kamimura, so Porsche in the mix as well. The car that took pole position for race 1, Huan Chen, teammate in the 77 Ferrari, Liang Jiatong, is 7th at the moment. But Daniel Morad, fastest around the first flying lap, and he's improved his performance by a tiny margin on the second flying lap. But Maxi Gertz is very close, his teammate for Craft Bamboo. Who else is picking up times? Looks as though car number 87, which is Origin Motorsport Porsche, Liu Yihong Li, is about to put together a very good lap. He's early in the lap. His first flying lap wasn't good at all. Well, this is the first flying lap. Now look at it actually. Daniel Morad, Maxi Gertz, and Yu Kanemaru, the top 3 positions. Mercedes, Nissan, still a couple of the front runners coming into the pits. That's Akash Nandi, who's 4th, and Alessio Picariello in 5th, because Eduardo Liberati, car number 6, the Lamborghini from Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, moves up into 5th overall. It's much tighter in this session. 2/10 between the fastest, the second fastest, and suddenly this car, Liu Yihong Li, coming down the long back straight, this is his first flying lap. So he took a while to come out of the pits, but we're running uninterrupted thus far in the session. But he had a very good first sector, second sector not so good, but he's got clear track ahead of him. So I think the faster time is going to come on his second flying lap. But if he can have a very good second part of the stint, he may get in the top 6 or so on this lap. Already some of the front runners in the pits. Daniel Morad, Maxi Gertz in the pits. Akash Nandi, Yu Kanemaru. Well, let's see what this will be from Liu Yi Hong Li. 2 minutes, 0.623 seconds to beat. First flying lap on the board for the 87 Porsche. And he backed it off a bit. Yeah, he backed it off enough to not even get in the top 10. But you can sort of sense by the body language of car and driver going into the hairpin, he was... Oh, but he's hooked the tail and he's swung it around a bit. That's what he wanted. Li Yihong Li just out in front of this car, this Picariello. But, well, of course, he was really going for it. But that was a little bit of a loose moment up at turn 2 there for Li Yihong Li. That could compromise his flying lap. In fact, he's listed down as 17th at the moment. There's a few more drivers getting quick times. New car at the top, 296. It's the absolute Ferrari, Finn Gersitz, young German racer. Clear by just 56 thousandths of a second. Looking there at the one BMW in the field, that's the car from Team KRC, car number 89, and Maxi Moosen, young Dutchman, has gone into 4th place, and he's going faster still on his second flying lap. This is the team that's been up and down the charts, but it's great to have a BMW in the mix, and also not just in the field, but in the mix at the very front end. And at the moment, he's under half a second down. And unfortunately, Andrew McPherson has parked where he doesn't want to be across the track. Looks like it's up at about turn 5. Hopefully, he can hook reverse and get out of the way. He'll need the assistance of the marshals to help him out. So anyone who's in front of him is fine. Their lap is not going to be interrupted. And one of those who's really challenging is this driver. Lights are flashing. No time, well, he's only good for 23rd position. This is the championship leading car with the driver who's been flying, and already he's fastest of all. This is Lauren Heinrich. You can see the purple livery under that first of the 3 timing splits. He's improved on his second timing split as well, so it looks like Finn Gersitz maybe not from the top of the chart. Look, there's clear track in front of him, lights flashing, the purple Porsche coming up behind Akash Nandi, but Akash Nandi in the number 41 Audi is suitably far clear, will not interrupt Lauren Heinrich. So Lauren's got to hook up these final 3 corners. This one looks neat, it looks tidy. Finn Gersitz's time is 2 minutes, 0.457 of a second. Is that going to be top? And are we going to get someone down into 1 minute 59? That would be outstanding. No chance of that in the first session because it was so stop-start, but this one's running nicely. We've almost got 10 of the 15 minutes on the clock. Waiting for Lauren Heinrich's time to come onto the board. Good for 5th, 2 minutes, 0.980. Finn Gersitz stays at the top of the charts. Daniel Rad second. And Dorian Boccolacci has just popped up. Car number 13, Phantom Global Racing, sharing with Angie. So many characters popping up. And Dylan Pereira in a guest car, the Phantom Global Racing Audi, the pink and white car. That has gone up into 5th position, showing the Luxembourgeois driver can deliver all around Europe and out here as well. Just ahead of Lauren Heinrich, Maxi Moosen in the BMW has been pushed down to 7th. Adeli Fong, silver class leader, good at the moment for 8th position. He's 3/4 of a second off provisional pole, but it's that 296 Ferrari from Absolute Corsa at the top. But Ralph Aron, we're looking at him, Climax Racing, he was laid out the pits about a lap behind the others. Remember, he came out right in the path of Alessio Picariello. Looking as though he's going to put the Climax Racing BMW somewhere in the mix. Yes, somewhere in the mix. He goes to the very top. 2 minutes, 0.285 of a second. He's 0.172 of a second clear of Finn Gersitz. Car 13, Dorian Boccolacci. Looking at him now, he's 4th in the charts. Is he improving around this lap? Most certainly he is. We're now going to start dealing in hundredths of a second. I would reckon certainly tenths of a second can make big difference. Hundredths could make the final adjustment. Championship leading car, car number 4, background of the shot, the purple Porsche is down in 7th position. Car number 1 at the moment, Alessio Picariello. Well, he's got to get a move on, he's down in 17th position. The Belgian will deliver. Not so much that he will improve on this lap, but how much will he improve? By Akash Nadi, the number 41 Audi, that's also tumbled down the order to 13th position. Caught out almost there by a car slowing right in front of him, pulling off the side of the track. I think it could be the Volgas Motorsport Porsche. Yeah, grey with the red mirrors. That was just on the exit. Red flag. Red flag. So who has that scuppered? It hasn't scuppered Ralph Aron. He just put the time in. and Alessio Picariello just moved up to 5th position. There's his red and white Porsche. He just got through. The red flag was flown almost immediately behind him for this car. The Volgas Motorsport Porsche stuck at the side of the circuit without drive, and that is after that final hairpin. They come out of the hairpins, that tiny little kink, and clearly something has died on that. So really, really unfortunate, but not so much for Alessio Picariello. He just delivered, just slotted into time. He's a whisker over half a second down, but here we are. Let's give you the order. At the moment, we've got just under 4 minutes, well, 3 minutes 39 seconds on the clock. Again, we'll get that jeopardy of the restarted session. It's Ralph Aron top, 2 minutes, 0.28585 seconds. That's the number 22 Climax Racing Mercedes. Second place, the Absolute Corsa. And the message is coming through. The session will not restart. So the order at the end is the order that they will line up on the grid for tomorrow's race, the Sunday race, the one that potentially has a typhoon coming in at its tail. So Alessio Picariello, that was a very fortunate lap. If that red flag had come out 5 seconds earlier, he would not have got the lap on the board. And then he and his teammate Anthony Liu would have been starting in, I think it was 17th position, but he just managed to get it up to 5th. The championship leading car, Lauren Heinrich, did not get the lap in, and he is down in 9th. That will change things at the start of Sunday's race. We've still got this afternoon's race to sort things out, most certainly. And car 87, that is the car second in the championship. Liu Yihongli got into 4th place. So it's Ralph Aron top. Second, Finn Gare sits in the Ferrari from Absolute Corsa. 30, Daniel Morad, Craft Bamboo Racing. 4th, we have car 87, Liu Yihongli, championship second place car. So the sky is blue, the clouds are fluffy. Here are the times. Right, Ralph Aron delivered for Climax Racing. Pole position, Finn Gare sits second, just 0.172 of a second down in the Absolute Corsa Ferrari. Daniel Morad, Canadian racer, Craft Bamboo Racing, he was going very well today. He is 3rd. 4th, Liu Yihongli, 2nd in the championship overall. He's got 4th on the chart. So Alessio Picariello 5th for Absolute Racing with his Porsche, and Dorian Boccolacci's going very well with Chris Chia, Phantom Global Racing Porsche, number 13, slots into 6th position. Maxi Gertz 7th, Dylan Pereira 8th, unusually for him, driving an Audi. Origin Motorsport, Lauren Heinrich, championship leading car, will be 9th, and 10th on the grid for tomorrow's race is the Dutch racer Maxi Moesten, sharing with Kun van Rooyen, the one and only BMW in the field. That has been a very good qualifying session for them. For quite a few others, it was not as good as they'd hoped for. Akash and Andy ending up in 15th overall, and a host of other top names just trying to scramble through the pack. We lost the final 3 minutes and 33 seconds or so. The session will not restart. That is why we're showing you these times. It's been stop, it's been start. There's been high pressure from start to finish. And of course, still presentations to the crews that have taken the pole positions. But for all the crews, it's a real question of relaxing now and thinking how they can improve their cars for this afternoon's race. And that is due to kick off at 2:20. So all eyes will be on that 1 hour of racing. There's going to be plenty of action, but certainly we've had action already with all those red flags. It's been stop, it's been start, but it's been about the drivers having to deliver. So really, it was a case in session number 1 of hats off to Waiyan Chen and this driver, Ralph Aron, who got it right for Climax Racing and delivered that pole time, eventually 0.17 of a second. And it really was about working your space in traffic, keeping cool, keeping calm. The second session, much more straightforward until that red flag at the end. No incident other than the Volgas Motorsport Porsche just simply clearly losing drive and sitting at the side of the circuit, just coming out of that final hairpin. But for a host of drivers, it just spiked their second flying lap that could, should, maybe not, moved them up the order. But that was pressure for all of those drivers, all of those teams to make things work. It was tricky. And three of the cars, by the way, you could just see the one that qualified in 8th position, Dylan Pereira's pink Audi being pushed out of the way. 3 of them not eligible for points. They're not entered in the championship, but they wanted to come and play here at Shanghai, so they're most welcome. And as I said, number 2 was one of those cars, entered by Phantom Global Racing alongside the Porsches. Decided a pink Audi would be required. Showing with Hubo, who was last year's Chinese GT Super Sprint champion, so very good calibre of driver to bring on board, and Dylan Pereira, former Porsche Super Cup champion from Europe. But there, 296, Finn Gare sits taking 2nd overall on the grid. Looks like we can have 2 Ferraris on pole, 1 for each of the races, but not to be with Ralph Aron just toppling him right at the end. Didn't get a driver down into the 1 minute 59. Slightly ambitious. I do reckon with another clear lap would have been very close indeed. But let's go down in the pits because Amy has caught up with our pole sitter for race number 2. And so let's go out and hear the thoughts of Ralph Ferron.
So congratulations on your pole position. You will be the pole sitter for the final race of this season. What was the magic potion? What a flying lap. Can you tell me more about it?
I think honestly we executed the session really well. Obviously it ended with a red flag, but we knew that this is a risk. We stayed out a little bit in the pits before going out, waited a little bit, and then I think we did the lap when the track was at a really good condition.
Was it your first time on this track?
It was my first time here, yes. So when we found out that the Thursday test is cancelled, I was maybe a little bit nervous, but the Mercedes-AMG GT3 of Climax Racing has been super good all weekend, so I'm really happy to be here, and huge thanks to the team.
Fantastic job and congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Good point there that Amy raised, and Ralph Ferron delivered his first visit here. And the cars were a day or so late arriving, but for Climax, because of a typhoon, they all came in. The old hands know this circuit well. Of course, they'd have done simulator stuff, but to go and deliver with the added pressure of trying to find space on the track, he's waited almost an entire lap before going out. But he is the Rover Oils pole winner for race 2 here at the Shanghai International Circuit. So the team will be delighted with him. Ralph Ferron, Climax Racing, Mercedes on pole for the Sunday race here at the Shanghai International Circuit. It was high pressure, and his car popped out just in front of the front runners. They were coming around to start their first flying lap. He got out, got the track space, but he still had to deliver, and he most certainly did. So high extra pressure. Here we are at the final round of Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia. So much to play for. We've still got the overall title to settle, the Pro-Am title, the Silver title, the Am Class, and the China Cup. Only Silver Am has really been nailed down. And as we sit at the side with Ralph Ferron posing for photos, the Lamborghinis for Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia piling out onto the track. It's a very busy agenda here at the Shanghai International Circuit. But for the crews now, they can calm down a little bit. Consider, as pointed out by Ralph, they lost practice time. Let's look at the highlights, because it was a real scramble in each of the sessions to get out with a red flag in each. But the first one was particularly busy. 3 red flags. Riding on board with Hirabon here in the team Gojigan Nissan, but it was a real case of James Yu being at the front of the queue. There he is, car number 41 in the Audi. He's not really that well placed in the overall championship, but the championship challengers, Lu Wei, Bob Yuan and Anthony Liu, it was all about track space. In the second session, Daniel Murad really delivered for Craft Bamboo Racing, the number 30 Mercedes, and it was all about track space as well as getting the heat in the tyres and going for a time. And great pressure. Wei Lu looking to deliver, and hoped his teammate Lauren Heinrich would do the same as well. 2 qualifying sessions, but the second one belonged to this car number 22, Climax Racing Mercedes, and it was Ralph Ferron who delivered just north of 2 minutes. He'll be on pole for race number 2. Do make sure to join us for race 1 this afternoon.